with Eli, I mean, just you can't really measure how much that's going to improve. Plus, this is a team that's going to throw the ball downfield, which means Odell's going to get the chance to just make some of these spectacular catches. I really love Odell this year more than Thomas, particularly because of the quarterback situation. I gotta say, I halfway wanted to pick Drew Brees for my quarterback bust. I'm not sure he's going to be the same guy this year.
Wow. That's a bold statement, Cotton. That is very bold. But I respect you. You're a podcast host. I've looked up to you since I was 8 years old, so I get it, okay? So our final mailbag question comes from an old buddy of mine who I used to announce Rutgers games with. His name's Sach Chandan. He works for ESPN now as a hockey insider, interestingly enough. And he wrote in a question, if I can't get a tight end early, who should I target late? Well, Sach, I think it's Chandan, by the way. I haven't seen you in a few years. I apologize, buddy, but thank you for the question. There's a few names. We talked about Darren Waller already. I think Austin Hooper, an ever-improving Atlanta offense is another big one. Dallas Goedert of the Eagles has a chance to be a high upside play. And then finally, a name I'll give you is Chris Herndon of the Jets. Has the 4-game suspension, but he is a favorite target of Sam Darnold. But I know you have a name that you're really high on, so I'll let you get your answer in.
So I'm going to steal an idea I heard recently, but I love the idea of Herndon with getting a guy like a Tyler Eifert or someone else like that who's kind of an injury risk, getting them for the first few weeks, seeing how they play out, and then picking up Herndon when he gets back from his suspension. I think that's a solid play. But the guy I love here, Vance McDonald, I can't say enough. Take him early, take him often in your drafts. I think he's going to be a tremendous, tremendous value. I think he's one of the guys who has a really, really high upside. If you want a deep sleeper, this is the only Dolphin I'm going to put on this list. Mike Gesicki has the talent of a number one tight end. He has not gotten the ball much. He hasn't played up to his potential. He has not been great in the preseason, so there's not a lot of buzz, but I have to say, out of the guys who are later on, I'm not sure there's a more talented guy who's going to be available after the top 10 than Gesicki. This is a guy who is just an absolute monster. He's fast, strong, has a great vertical jump, so if you want to take a really late flyer on a tight end, I think he might not be a bad choice.
Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you to Christian and Satch for your mailbag questions. And Ben, I think that'll about wrap things up. You got any final thoughts here for fantasy football?
I don't have any more for fantasy football, but there was one other piece of news, Jason, that I wanted to get your thoughts on because it was one of my favorite moves of the offseason, and it to me had shades. I had a moment, Jason, where I said, this is how the Warriors built their team. And it was a move by your beloved Nets.
Yes. Are we putting the basketball hat on briefly?
Oh, we are most definitely putting the basketball hat on.
I am so happy that the Nets did this move. They lock up Caris LeVert to a 3-year contract extension starting next season, the 2020-2021, but it's 3 years, $52.5 million, way lower than market value. But I think, I think the method is, if LeVert gets hurt, the Nets have some security, and if he does well, it's a steal for the Nets because he could have hit restricted free agency next summer and just went off and got a $20 million plus deal. But I think it did show some loyalty to the organization. It's a great move because now the Nets have their core of Kevin Durant, Caris LeVert, Kyrie Irving, Spencer Dinwiddie, and DeAndre Jordan all locked up for at least the next 3 years. They have Jared Allen's early bird rights, and they have Joe Harris's bird rights, who's set to hit unrestricted free agency next year. So
best move of the offseason by any team.
Yes, the Nets are going to be a tax team, but I think they ultimately will get Joe Harris to re-up in Brooklyn. They'll get their lethal shooter. They'll find a way to pay Jared Allen, and we'll see if this core is good enough to win a championship. But just for Caris LeVert, this news couldn't wait till next week. I'm so happy for him. He's the last piece of this young core outside of Jared Allen. Rondé's gone, D'Angelo Russell's gone, Chris McCullough never panned out, Isaiah Whitehead never panned out. Mason Plumlee's gone. So out of all these young guys that, Sean Marks and or Billy King drafted, Caris LeVert has a chance to be special, man, and I'm happy he's staying in Brooklyn.
I think you're like not excited enough about this move. The combination of this with the Dinwiddie signing are just signs of how good Marks is because I think this is the best signing the entire offseason. And I don't think it's all that close. Like, I was struggling to find the best deals of the offseason. This is Warriors Steph Curry like deal. I mean, the value that they are getting here is insane. He would have easily made double of this on restricted free agency next year. It was borderline befuddling when I read this deal. I was confused at first. I thought, is it one? Is it 2 years? 2 years? 50? 3 years? Whoa, whoa, whoa. It must be they're kicking it in to start this coming year. Nope. I don't know how they got LeVert to agree to this, but this is about as good a deal as you could pull off. I'm absolutely shocked. They'll get to now control his rights for the next 4 years until he's 29 years old, Jason. I mean, that is as good a deal as you can get, and it means that they get to keep him through the entirety of the Kyrie Irving and Durant contracts. I mean, I was absolutely gobsmacked when I read this report. I can't believe they got him for this deal. I mean, I understand he was coming off an injury, but it genuinely, the first thing I thought of was when Steph Curry signed that bargain deal coming off the ankle injury. And it feels very similar to me here that LeVert took the lowest value he would have ever gotten right now. And next year, there's no way he's going to play worse than he did this last year with the injury and everything. So I think the Nets got an absolute bargain, and they get to now put together a championship team for the next few years with him, Durant, and Irving, along with Joe Harris. I mean, phenomenal move by them. I can't say enough. This is an A plus plus move for the Nets.
Yes, I am very pleased. But now I guess we'll let the people go. Huh? You got any final thoughts?
Just kudos to Sean Marks. I mean, I know it's been beaten to death, Jason, but it's unbelievable how far they've come in the past 5 or so years. Going from no draft picks, owing everything to the Celtics, to now, I think they're the odds on favorite next season. Not this season, but next season to win the championship. And if Kevin Durant's healthy this year, they're a real threat to win the championship this year.
Well, kudos to Sean Marks. Kudos to you, Ben. And kudos to all the listeners for letting us have some fun tonight. You know, we are a basketball podcast, but just like last year, we did an NFL preview. This year, we just wanted to try something on and do a fantasy football preview. So we hope you enjoyed it. We wish you the best of luck in all your drafts and in your seasons. And, we're thankful for you listening. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review.
5 stars, please.
And unless you have any final thoughts, Ben, we'll talk to you guys next week when we're back to basketball full time.
Peace.